apparently, I'm being taken to the shower. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. Stop the music. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. Yes, it's Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. And good morning to everyone who's in the chat already. Looks like we got a few people already coming in. Good morning. In fact, I'm going to say good morning. I'm going to say good morning to y'all because I just got to do that. I do that in the mornings. That's what I do. Sheograph gets the bell first in the chat. Good morning, MC. Hammer time. And Rolling Bear, C. Thomas, Sarah, Rain Nation, April, welcome to the show. I'm not sure if this is your first time here. I hear you've been having trouble getting that unsub bug that YouTube sometimes get. Like I said in the chat, you're the first that has ever happened to. I must be pissing somebody off. Who else is here? Let's see. Chicago Mike, good morning. Zombie Teddy, Marsupial Gamer. I said C. Thomas. I already did. So there you go. Dawg Knight, I won't have too many SPs for you. That's not. That's too bad to see, Thomas. I hope things work out for you. It sucks to be fired. I can't. Have I ever been fired? I have to think about that. I don't think I've ever been fired, but I have. I've left jobs where I've gone where I needed to leave just because I couldn't stand it anymore. So, anyway, the title about being cheesy. It was weird. Yesterday, I made a comment to a thread on Twitter that I really didn't pay attention to. And and in fact, April, Rain Nation kind of knows what we're doing here, what I'm talking about here. But it was one of those threads where, I just saw a comment. I thought, oh, you know what, it's someone I knew. So I'd throw in my 2 cents for a second. And then later realized that this is one of those threads where, there's a couple guys going back and forth and really just being, super rude and whatever. And and I don't care. I thought the thread was kind of funny because they're insulting each other back and forth. But I didn't realize it was pretty contentious. And it's just not one of those things. That's not my style. My style on Twitter is I'll talk to people. I try not to do personal insults. I try not to yell at people. But, it's just one of those... who that is? Neighbor. Well, hello, Dumbbeard. Welcome to the show. Welcome, James Derby. Anyway, what I was saying is, and I was beginning to realize that, because for most of you who've been here since I started doing the show, I'm not one to swear a whole lot, although I do now online, but partially because I know there's people that watch my show sometimes, and I probably don't normally swear around. Like my kids watch my show once in a while. In fact, every once in a while my daughter's on the show. But what's my point here? I guess my point is that Twitter's trash. Oh man. Anyway, and it just, sometimes the anonymity of being online makes you say things you probably wouldn't say to people in person. And I try to treat what I do online at least as though, okay, cool. Okay, thank you. I was trying to figure out what the neighbor thing. Oh, that's cool. Anyway, I try to treat my online interactions as closely to how I would talk to somebody in person. And so I don't know, maybe that's just a style thing. Some people have no problem being rude. But I don't know. whatever. All right, hey, and good morning, ex-Bubba Hotep. Welcome to the show. So anyway, let's get into, I was going to check out some headlines. And I really didn't get into, I like to use a couple blogs that do some aggregating because I'm too lazy to aggregate and go through stuff myself. But there's tons of stuff to talk about. In fact, I just found, I'm looking at this and one of these articles from the Daily Caller. Let's just start with this one. I'm rambling. Let's just get into it. From the Daily Caller, House Democrats are going to vote on holding Barr and Ross in contempt of Congress. Oh, goody. The House Oversight and Reform Committee announced Monday that it will vote on holding Attorney General William Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in contempt of Congress. Now, oh, this contempt vote on Barr. I'm sorry. Well, let's see if we get into this article. See if they have some reasons here, and then I'll say more about it in a second. The announcement comes as both Barr and Ross refuse to provide documents in regards to adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census. Oh, okay, because well, what does Barr have to do with that? Okay, anyway, unfortunately, your actions are part of a pattern. Maryland Democratic Representative Elijah Cummings, the chairman of the committee, wrote in different letters to Barr and Ross. The Trump administration has been engaged in one of the most unprecedented cover-ups since Watergate, extending from the White House to multiple federal agencies and departments of the government and across numerous investigations. Okay, so we know what the talking point word of the week is. Obviously the talking point word of the week is cover-up. Nancy Pelosi's used it several times. Many of the more mainstream media outlets has used it more than once. So the word cover-up, okay, and it's a very thought out word, because when you ever think about cover-ups in politics, what does your mind immediately go to? I mean, the most famous cover-up, quote, cover-up of all. Watergate, the Watergate thing, Nixon, they call it a cover-up, okay? So they've got that's their talking point. That's the word that they want you to hear. So all of these chairmen are using the same word. Schiff is using it. Jerry Nadler's using it, and now Elijah Cummings is using it. The administration has been challenging Congress's core authority to conduct oversight under the Constitution, questioning the legislative basis for congressional inquiries, objecting committee rules and precedents that have been in place for decades under both Republican and Democratic leadership, and making basic legal arguments to avoid producing documents and testimony. Cummings continued. This comes a month after a second court ruled against adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census in March and accused Ross of breaking the law. Interesting. The House Judiciary Committee has voted on May 8th to hold Barr in contempt of Congress for not giving the committee's special counsel Robert Mueller's full unredacted report. That has not gone to a full vote in the Congress yet. And in fact, again, they held him in contempt for not breaking the law. If he would have given the full unredacted report, revealing grand jury testimony, that's against the law. So all right, so another committee is looking to hold Barr in contempt. It's a full court press on Barr. April, let's see. Will they hold Mueller to the same contempt standards for refusing to testify? Well, it's going to be interesting if they. Here's my thought on that, because we talked about this the other day. So Mueller said in his little statement the other day that he does not expect to be testifying or talking about this matter any longer. He's done. He quit. Blah 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 blah. Well, at first there was a big clamoring from Democrats saying, well, no, he needs to testify. He needs to testify. And I think that I don't think Mueller wants the scrutiny. Well, now Schiff was in an interview the other day, and he said something about, well, yeah, we think we need to have him testify, and we may have to compel him to testify. And the reporter asked, well, are you thinking of, putting him under subpoena to testify? And Schiff was kind of wishy-washy about it. His answer was yes, but he was somewhat wishy-washy about it. And my thoughts are, do the Democrats really want Mueller to testify in front of Congress? Because I'm thinking they don't want a cross-examination of questions from the Republicans. And I'm sure I can think of a list of questions that the Republicans need to be asking, as far as that going. It was, yeah. Oh, yes, Mueller was part of the weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, I play that clip all the time. C. Thomas, the Democrats will hold everyone else to their standards, but they never do it to themselves. Yeah, and the big name was Brian Pagliano. I'm going to bring up that name every time they talk about holding someone in contempt of Congress. Brian Pagliano. That was Hillary Clinton's, the person who set up Hillary Clinton's system and somehow figured out a way to take classified information out of secured government systems and put them into her system. They still haven't gotten an answer for that. He was subpoenaed by the Congress and never showed up to testify. So Democrats, I still want to hear Brian Pagliano testify. All right, moving on. Let's see what else we got here. I'm kind of in a mishmash today, so bear with me. Everything's going a little slower than normal. Oh, by the way, there is one article that I think you should read. I'm not going to go through the whole thing today, but there's an article in the Federalist by what's her name? Molly Hemingway. 28 moments from the bombshell bar interview. I'm going to put it on the screen here real quick. This is a very interesting article because he did this interview on CBS News. Oh, we never did go over that. Never mind. We never went over this. Let's just, we'll go into a couple of these because he had a really interesting interview on CBS News over the weekend when he was it over the weekend? It was when he was in Alaska. And a lot of new, interesting information came out of that interview that was just completely fascinating. 28 moments from the bombshell bar interview. Attorney General William Barr's nearly hour-long interview with CBS News' Jan Crawford last week was full of fascinating details about the special counsel probe, the debunked Russia collusion theory that roiled Washington for years, and Barr's investigation into how the FBI and Department of Justice used the bogus theory to investigate the Trump campaign. The interview was downplayed by the media. Yeah, you know what? I saw some people, the usual suspects, complaining on Twitter about the interview. But interesting, it didn't get a ton of media attention. And he said a lot of new things in this interview. The interview was downplayed by the media, which is implicated in perpetuating the Russia hoax Barr is investigating, and which came in for criticism from Barr for its failure to care about the violations of civil liberties. Here are the top 28 takeaways from the interview. Now, I'm not going to go through all 28, but we'll go through a few while we're here. Okay, and the top one is something that somewhat contradicts what Mueller said in a sort. Anyway, number one, Mueller could have reached a conclusion. Crawford, whose questions revealed a command of the facts not demonstrated by many of her mainstream media peers, asked Barr about Special Counsel Robert Mueller's decision to outline 11 instances where President Trump's frustration at falsely being accused of treason could amount to possible obstruction, followed by a refusal to decide whether they did. Barr explained that the Office of Legal Counsel opinion that prevents presidents from being indicted was no barrier to making a conclusion about obstruction. Right, he could have reached a conclusion, Barr said, noting that he and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein concluded that Trump had not obstructed justice. Quote, when we did make a decision, the Deputy Director General Rod Rosenstein and I felt it was necessary for us as heads of the department to reach that decision. Interesting on this thing, too. Someone else brought this up when someone was talking about it. It's always interesting. Anytime he talks about the decisions of the Justice Department, he doesn't start with, I made this decision. He always says, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and I, he always puts them in tandem, meaning that they talked and made the decision together, or someone on their team made the decision together. He's trying to make it very clear that this was just not him, making decisions, because the rub is that, well, he's pretending he's President Trump's personal attorney. Ugh. Yeah, no. Good morning. Oh, good morning, Necrosol Collins, by the way. I just see you popped in there. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. When he didn't make a decision, the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, and I felt it was necessary for us as heads of the department to reach that decision, Barr said. That is what the Department of Justice does. That is why we have compulsory powers like a grand jury to force people to give us evidence so that we can determine whether a crime has been committed, or in order to legitimate the process we felt we had to reach a decision. So, number two, this is... This was maybe one of my favorites. The Department of Justice is not an adjunct to Congress. So Mueller received praise from the media for, they said, subtly asking Congress to impeach the president for, apparently, his frustration with falsely being accused of being a traitor. Barr was less enamored with this idea. Well, Barr says, well, I'm not sure what he was suggesting, but, the Department of Justice does not use our powers of investigating crimes as an adjunct to Congress, meaning they're not the Congress's investigation team. The only reason the Department of Justice investigates things is to determine whether or not laws were broken, and the Department of Justice should prosecute. So no, they're not there for the Congress. They want to think that, oh, well, he made it clear that he was, doing this for us to make so we can impeach. That's not what the Department of Justice does. Ours are related to the criminal justice process. We are not an extension of Congress's investigative powers, he said. And then this one, I'll do three of these, and I'll just link the article in the chat if you want to read the whole thing yourself. It is it's a fascinating article. Number three, Mueller's guilty until proven innocent standard is not the standard we use at the Department of Justice. Mueller's refusal to determine whether President Trump had obstructed justice by making hiring and firing decisions, or complaining about false accusations he had conspired with Russia to steal the 2016 election, was one problem. The other was that Mueller flipped the standard prosecutorial approach on its head, Barr said. He also said that he could not say that the president clearly did not violate the law, which of course is not the standard we use at the department. We have to determine whether there is a clear violation of the law. And so we apply the standards we would normally apply. We analyze the law and the facts, and a group of us spent a lot of time doing that and determined both as a matter of law, many of the incidents would not amount to obstruction, Barr said. So anyway, some of these... Mueller's obstruction theories did not reflect the view of the DOJ. Barr doesn't care about hyper-partisan complaints. Oh yeah, they were. So they were asked. She asked him if he was worried, about all the criticism and complaints and whatever he's received from the media and other partisans. He's like, we live in a hyper-partisan world. I have a career behind me. This is not going to make or break my career, because I'm probably going to be retiring after this. I'm going to paraphrase. I don't give a fuck is what he said. He was also surprised that Mueller did not provide the report ready to release. Yeah, when they gave the report to the Department of Justice, Barr had requested to Robert Mueller that when he, to have the redactions that they were going to have ready so that they could immediately release the report. And in particular the grand jury testimony. And when Barr turned the report into the Justice Department, they had done none of that. They only supplied the report. So that's why, after they received the report, there was a delay in putting out the full report. And apparently, the reason he decided to do that 4-page, the conclusions, the 4-page summary of the conclusions, not the summary of the entire report, just the summary of the conclusions, which which everyone got up in arms about, was because they still had to do all the redactions. And so then he had to send the report back. He said they had to highlight all the redactions, and then they did such. So let's see. Okay, I'll tell you about that in a second. The Tree Liberty has not been watered since the bonus expedition forces in 1932. Even then, it was too late. Interesting. We're going to have a talk, April. We're going to have this conversation. We might do it on your channel. We might do it on my channel. But maybe we'll do both. We'll do it more than once. Because our conversation yesterday was very interesting to me. By the way, good morning. C.W. Costa, Ginger Snap, and I think who else showed up? Someone else showed up. I'll figure it out. All right. So anyway, read that article. It's very interesting. I thought it was a real good summary of the interview with Barr, and there's a whole lot of things coming up, man. And again, the question that I think is the most important question that is not being answered by the Mueller report, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again and again and again. If the Russians were attempting to interfere in our elections, and they claim that the Russians did all this stuff, that a consistent, systematic, blah 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 effort. What was the quantitative results of their efforts? What did it do? Because so far, it's funny if you go through the Mueller report too. It's interesting. Every single element of this, and I listen to a lot of people who talk about this. And I think it was H.A. Goodman who said this in another Federalist piece that I'll probably go through tomorrow. Every single element of evidence that they've at least given to the public, the connections with Papadopoulos and Andrew Downer from Australia, the Steele dossier, every single piece of evidence, including most of the investigators, have ties to Hillary Clinton. For example, the Steele dossier, paid for by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign through the law firm of Perkins Coie, and then they, who paid Fusion GPS, who paid Christopher Steele, who got information from Russian. The funny thing is, where did she get her information for this fake Steele dossier? It sounds like somebody was colluding with the Russians through Christopher Steele. Okay, so yeah, that. The Andrew Downer, the Australian ambassador that met with George Papadopoulos. He's a big-time Clinton supporter. He gave money to the Clinton Foundation, was bashing Trump before the election. Who else? Even the so-called hack of the DNC. Okay, the DNC hack. Okay, that they say the Russians hacked the Democratic National Committee. Now, of course, there was information that they got from the hack, or what I don't even believe is a hack. Andrew Downsieg, Duck Dog, that's funny. The hack, so-called hack of the Democratic computers. Well, the FBI still has never looked at those computers. And I think if Mueller testifies, I think that should be one of the questions that the Republicans should ask. Okay, so you say that the Russians hacked the DNC. How do we know that they hacked the DNC? What evidence do you have that you can use in a court of law? And the FBI is going to have to say, oh wait, well, did you have FBI computer forensic experts examine their computers? Well, no, not really. The DNC and Hillary Clinton paid for a company called CrowdStrike to go and check out the computers, and CrowdStrike said that the Russians did this, and they gave us everything they had. They gave us a copy of the hard drives and things like that. Oh, really? So a third party contractor paid for by the DNC is the information you got that says that the Russians hacked their computers? Yeah. Do y'all realize that's not acceptable evidence in a court of law? In fact, a lot of this investigation is from third party information. So yeah, some things might be acceptable, sometimes they're not. But I don't think the fact that they never had their own forensics people do the work. Even if they do get those Russian generals who supposedly were part of the hack, even if they do get in the United States, what's your evidence against them? Okay. Now, if you listen to other experts, Bill Binney, was the NSA analyst that was a whistleblower during the Bush administration, and everyone thought he was a hero then. Bill Binney says he's looked at those files, that they put out there, and that the computers weren't hacked. It was a download. The download speeds were too fast. The transfer rate was too fast for a hack. There's no known hack that could have had that transfer rate. How you have the, how your upload speeds are limited on your computer when you're doing things like live streaming. Well, apparently the transfer rates were too fast for a hack. It had to be a download. So that means someone downloaded stuff from the DNC. But, and then the other part, so they did this hack or stealing of information from the DNC computers. Does anyone remember what information you got from those hacks? Notice how nobody ever talks about what they got. Well, what did they get? They got some proof that the DNC wasn't necessarily being honest with Bernie Sanders voters who were giving them money to run a campaign to make an even playing field, right? Do anyone remember that? What else? Oh yeah, that the Hillary Clinton campaign had arrangements with some different journalists to make sure that when they wrote a story that they got the story right. I mean, I want to talk about the information in the hacks. Maybe we'll go back and do that. I'm going to pull that up. Maybe we'll do that later this week. We're just going to go through, just to go down memory lane. Anyway, all right, let's move on. I'm rambling. I tend to do that sometimes. Let's see, what else we got here today? Oh yeah, the Inspector General report's going to come out pretty soon. This is interesting too. Oh, wait, what the hell happened there? Hold on. How do I get rid of this? Usually they give you a little X. Maybe I hit escape. Nope, that didn't work. Patriot. Oh, premium members only. When did they start doing this crap? Okay, well, we're not doing that article. Because you know what? Although I haven't done my fill of Washington Post articles yet. When did they start doing that? That's annoying. All right, well, let's forget that one then. Oh. Did you hear about this? Did I talk about this yesterday? By the way, for those of you who were here yesterday, I had to leave the stream early. My father-in-law, we had to take him to the emergency room. Nothing Nothing life-threatening or anything, but he had some problems that we had taken emergency room. He lost his leg 4 or 5 years ago, and so he still lives on his own. Well, he's having trouble, and so we took him to the hospital, and he he'll be in there a few days, and then we're gonna have to find a different place for him to live. But just to let you know, everything's okay. He's doing fine, and everything's fine. I know I had to abruptly stop. Also, I want to remind you too that the Morning Night Live is the Morning Night Live is sponsored by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Just remember that we're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. And right down there is the share button. That's my favorite button for you to use. Share this out on whatever social media you use. You click that button, you can send it to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, LinkedIn, whatever social things you use. And also hit the like button. YouTube likes interaction. And finally, I don't have super chats because I'm not a large enough channel, but we do super chats through the Streamlabs link in the description down below if you want to support the channel that way too. So, and thank you those of you who've been donating. I very much appreciate that. It makes it really does give me an incentive to keep doing this, even though I love doing this, and it's a lot of fun for me. So, you involved again. Yeah, there's a. Oh, good morning, Angel. By the way, all right, here we go. So this. I don't know if I read this story the other day or not. Apparently, a key Mueller probe witness arrested on child porn charges. What the hell? A key witness in the special counsel's investigation was arrested Monday on charges that he transported child pornography. George Nader, a longtime advisor to the Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates, was charged on April 19th after FBI investigators found 12 videos on one of Nader's phones showing children between the ages of 3 and 14 engaging in what the government calls sexually explicit content. Nader was initially detained at Washington, D.C.'s Dulles Airport on January 17, 2018. The charges were not unsealed until Monday when Nader was arrested at John F. Kennedy. Nader, who is a citizen of both Lebanon and the U.S., was involved in several key meetings at the center of the special counsel's probe. He set up a meeting in the Seychelles in January 2017 between Eric Prince, a Trump supporter who founded the private security firm Blackwater, and Kirill Dmitriev, the head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. Nader is mentioned nearly 120 times in the special counsel's report. He also met numerous times with the special counsel's office. All but one of the meetings were conducted under a proffer agreement, meaning that he would not be charged with any crimes in exchange for his cooperation. So now that just makes me wonder. So he was detained on January 17th. Not charged till April 19th. But he was a key witness of Robert Mueller. And he said, let's see, he met numerous times with the office, all but one of the meetings under a proffer agreement so that he would not be charged with any crimes in exchange for his cooperation. Now, I gotta think. So April, 2018. 2018. When was he charged? He was charged April 19th, so a year ago he was charged. I gotta wonder, when did he do all this testifying? Before or after that charge? Nader, 60, pleaded guilty to a similar child porn charge in 1991 in Virginia. He faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison if convicted, prosecutors said. Wow. So he pleaded guilty to a charge in 91. They need to throw this. They need to. Oh man. I don't know about all that. Oh, they need to put him away longer than that. Maybe that's just how it is. All right, moving on. Let's see. Real quick. There was one other that specific. Oh. So y'all had to have seen this. This woman on Twitter, who who hates white people, the white people. Former Democratic congressional candidate Syra Rao says she hates white people and America. Well, why the hell are you running for Congress? A former Democratic congressional candidate attacked white people and the American flag in a series of angry tweets Sunday. Syra Rao, who ran for Congress in Colorado's 1st District last year, blamed white people for making her life miserable and said that she can't stand the sight of the American flag. There's a tweet, the American flag makes me sick. She got raciated on every one of these. I swear, I saw these tweets over the weekend. Was this Saturday? I think June 2nd was 2 days ago. So no, it was Sunday. I saw these tweets over the weekend, and I went and clicked on her, Twitter feed, and the entire Twitter feed had statements like that. And I thought for sure that she was a parody. I could not believe that it was real. Sarah Rao, white people have done everything to make my life miserable, yet I'm supposed to not hate white people? Okay, Sarah Rao, as a fellow person of color, I gotta ask you, I'm so confused. How many white people give two shits about you? Do know anything about you, care about you? She had a thread. Apparently I think she's of Indian descent, like as in India, Asian India. And she was saying that the racism of Indian people, what was the tweet? Something about the racism of Indian people is, one of the, against blacks, is one of the awful things that they do, and they need to anyone who isn't fighting racial justice is against racial justice, shit like that. I'm like, oh, these people, it's, you know what, Syra Rao, live your life to the fullest you can. Nobody can make nobody is making your life miserable. What if you're miserable? There's only one person that makes your life miserable, and that's you. Rao was supported by far-left Political Action Committee and Justice Democrats. Oh yeah, she was supported by the Justice Democrats. That's the group that Cenk Uygur started. They're the ones who got. They got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez elected in New York. They've got some. In fact, the Justice Democrats had something to do with Kim Foxx's election too, as along with $400,000 from the man who shall not be named, but he supports many left-wing Democratic causes. Anyway, she was, during her campaign last year, but was easily defeated in the Democratic primary by the long-term incumbent, Diane DeGette, a white woman. After her primary defeat, Rao said that she was ready to give up on white people, blaming them for her loss. Yeah, because, any kind of political incumbent is such an easy win for someone from, easy defeat from someone from your own party. Before her loss, Rao also wrote an open letter to the Democratic Party and the Huffington Post, ripping them for not doing enough to combat racism. You've taken my love, my money, my tokenism, with nary anything in return, she said. You continue to call angry white men who commit mass murder lone wolves. But if someone who looks like me screams, Allah, and fires a gun, it's terrorism. Okay, hang on. She recently founded a club called Race to Dinner, where she invites white women throughout the country to join private dinners in order to bear whiteness to the pain of black and brown women. I'm so tired of this shit. I really am really tired. Now the people who love to rail on Trump and claim that he's dividing the country, he's a fascist, and he just he just wants to divide people into little groups and divide and conquer, blah blah blah. Do you think this shit is divisive at all? Do you think constantly putting people into categories and separating them out, do you think that's divisive? Doesn't the word divisive mean to divide? And yet they want to divide everyone down into little pieces and then try to gain power from being, power, the power of victimhood, the power of the downtrodden, using being the other as a weapon. It's annoying as hell. And I don't know. I'm so done with this shit. I just am. Where are we gonna go for here? Oh, you know what I did forget though? I forgot. Gotta have a little mood music though. Today we're going more the kind of funky hip hop route. Yeah, I like that. Listen to that beat. I hope it's not too loud, but I don't care. I've realized that when I go back and listen to my recordings, I've turned it way down so much, and part of it's because my microphone is never is up loud enough. But I've fixed that. I've made the microphone so everywhere I go around my microphone, you can hear me. See, you can hear me. You can hear me. You can hear me. I changed that the other day. Oh, not too loud. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, now let's see. It's time. It is definitely that time for the Twitter trends. So let's go see what's happening on Twitter so we can find out what people are talking about today and what we'll be talking about later in the day. So let's find my little Twitter thing here. And thank you. By the way, all of you guys tweeting out the show, Sarah, S. Derbs. S. Derbs, is that Sheograph? I can't remember who S. Derbs is. Necro, Rolling Bear, everybody, and a whole bunch of people tweeting it out. So thank you so much. Angel Tibbs, Rolling Bear, who's this? There's Sheograph. And all y'all tweeting out my stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. All right, let's get into Twitter trends today because I want to see what people are going to be talking about later today. I just gotta know. I gotta know. Oh gosh. So y'all, I know a lot of you are familiar with Michael Rowlands, and he's he just spends all day on Twitter trying to take shots at anyone who has a huge subscriber count on the side that he doesn't like, and then spends the entire day chirping away at him. So he's chirping away at Dave Rubin, who I'm not a big fan of Rubin. I don't dislike him. I just not necessarily a fan. But Dave Rubin isn't a liberal. He's a right-wing shill. Anyway, let's find out what's trending. Let's got that on. Okay, number one today, of course, it's Tuesday. So number one is going to be Tuesday Thoughts. Not Tuesday Thoughts, Tuesday Thoughts. Tuesday Thoughts. So let's find out what the top Tuesday thought of the day is. Oh, it's our favorite congressman, Ted Lieu. All right. Oh, my God. Let's see. He's responding to this tweet. Fourth point, pre-existing condition alert. 4.3 million Americans are affected by hepatitis, which many health insurers consider a pre-existing condition. If the ACA is repealed, people with hepatitis could lose their health care and be excluded from accessing health care in the future. Really? Why would they lose their health care from many health insurers. If they're getting their insurance from health insurers, then they're already covered and it's no longer a pre-existing condition, right? They're already insured. So why would an insurance company be forced to cancel your contract of something you're insured? But anyway, do you or a family member have cancer, diabetes? This is Ted Lieu. Do you or a family member have cancer, diabetes, sleep apnea, asthma, or hepatitis? If so, this is your reminder that Bill Barr of the Justice Department and the GOP are suing to eliminate healthcare coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. You know, Ted, I guess I'll have to see I guess I have to see what they're suing about. This has always confused me because, yes, I know that not everybody is insured for healthcare. But I'm trying to figure out, is it April's going to love this question. Is it the government's responsibility to demand that someone insures you for your health care? Interesting question, isn't it? Now, because, a lot of people like to say, oh, healthcare is a right. Well, why is it a right? This is one of those things. I see rights as things that you have full control of yourself, and rights are things that the government can't take away. It's not government. A right is not something that the government can provide you. A right is something that the government cannot take away from you. So, for example, the First Amendment is the right of freedom of speech, freedom to associate, freedom to press, whatever. Your freedom to express yourself. Okay? I have the freedom to express myself. The government cannot take that away from me. The right to bear arms. And I would say even, and I'm not talking about weapons or whatever. The right to protect yourself. The right to find ways to protect yourself. The government cannot take away your right to protect yourself. Now, people are saying that healthcare is a right. Well, why is it a right? The government doesn't. That would mean the government. Your right is that someone has to. You have the right to have someone provide you with something. That's not a right. I understand that people want to make it easier for people to get healthcare. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with, private entities saying, you know what, we know that, or there's, if a private entity says, we're going to help provide these poor people with health care, or even if we, as a group, government says, you know what, we will find a way to provide at least minimum health care for the poorest of the poor, even though I don't think that's a government function. We can decide that, but it's still not a right. Okay. Now, if I am going out and seeking health care that I'm going to go work, this many hours for at UPS so that I can go get health care here. Now, do I have a right to access the health care that I am going to go take advantage of, that I'm going to use my health insurance for? Yes, I have that right. I have a right to access, but it doesn't mean that I have a right that the government's going to provide it for me. That's not a right. Rights are things that can't. You have a right to, against illegal search and seizures. Again, a right to the privacy of the things within my property and home. I have a right to my things. The government does have a right. The government cannot come and seize those things. Okay, those are rights. So I hope that's I don't know. That's my 2 cents on rights. But anyway, so that's Ted Lieu's stupidity of the day. I don't know. Is the attorney? Maybe I'm missing something. But that's his Tuesday thoughts. But my iPad is getting sticky, humid. Are you still in the shower? I don't want to hear about that. Let's find a good Tuesday thought so I can move on. Oh, Steven Crowder made a "I'm sorry" video. God, it was so sarcastic. I feel bad. Well, I don't feel bad for him. You know that people are trying to get not people, Vox. One of the editors or whatever at Vox is trying to get Steven Crowder deplatformed off of YouTube. He's just on a rant for weeks. You know what? Pull up your big boy pants and deal with it. I mean, people say mean things, but whatever. You know, he's staying within the rules of YouTube. Go screw yourself, Vox. All right, let me find one good Tuesday thought that I would like. We never complained about how broke we were. We just talked about how rich we gonna be. Jay-Z is officially a billionaire. Good for Jay-Z. What's that hat he's rocking? Amber Waves Farm. Okay, I was like, he's not wearing a MAGA hat, is he? Beyonce would slap him upside the head. Well, can I get one good Tuesday thought? Gosh, no one's giving me any wisdom today. Oh, Paul Manafort is being sent to Rikers. Okay, where could be in solitary confinement. Oh, come on. Okay, here's a good one. And this is a Georgia officer, Flowers, was directing traffic when he noticed a young man was struggling with his tie on his way to his high school graduation. So he stopped and fixed a perfect knot and went right back to work. Okay, that's a good thought. That's some good feeling stuff on Tuesday. Let's go on. Let's move on to the trends. Number 2, reasons you stay on Twitter. Oh! For the bants, baby, for the bants. Reason you stay on Twitter, because I'm telling you, Twitter is trash, but I can't help it. Let's see. Sister told you, reasons you stay on Twitter. My longtime buddies, AP Dillon, Pete Callender, Irish Spy, who all keep me sane on this crazy platform. Oh, reasons to stay on Twitter. To take my country back. If you think we're going to give you your country back without a fight, you're sadly mistaken. Every day it's gonna be a fight. Good old Steve Bannon. Being an autistic teenager is hard, but with Twitter, I became a better person. I don't know how you did that, kid, but good for you. Twitter has helped me strengthen my confidence, work on communication skills, and make friends. Twitter is the best. Wow. Clearly, this person doesn't spend a lot of time in political Twitter or black Twitter or woke Twitter, which are primarily the 3 areas that I habitate just for the laughs. And YouTube Twitter. I'm in YouTube Twitter. I mean, if most of the people I follow on Twitter are either on YouTube or in politics, with an occasional. There's a lot of people I follow just to see what stupid things they're going to tweet today. But most of the YouTube Twitter people I follow are pretty cool. So, reason you stay on Twitter. Twitter makes me like people I've never met. Facebook and others makes me hate people I know in real life. That is kind of true. I can't even go on Facebook anymore. I love my friends and family, but occasionally I just, especially the very few that do nothing but rant about politics. And I'm not just talking about the politics I agree with, even the politics I disagree, the politics I disagree with, even the politics I disagree with just gets really old from those few people on Facebook, and I can't do it. If I want to see politics, I'll go to Twitter. Let's see if we can find one more good one. Oh, you know what? This is a good one. Reasons to stay on Twitter. It is absolutely the fastest place for breaking news. Unfortunately, that's good and bad though, because remember, some breaking news doesn't work out so well. Covington kids, Jussie Smollett. What's the dude who? It's Trump's lawyer. Put it in the chat. Somebody, Trump's lawyer that. One of the news outlets said that, Michael Cohen, remember the Cohen story that the one outlet said, I think it was BuzzFeed, said that Trump told him to lie to Congress, and Cohen's like, no he didn't, and Mueller said, or no, to the FBI, Mueller said, no he didn't. So anyway, there you go, let's move on. And hey, now I was trying to think of a title today for my stream, and this is the trending thing on Twitter that made my title today. Today's National Cheese Day. Oh, I just need a good grilled cheese sandwich. You just fold it in. Yes, when you're making fettuccine Alfredo, you fold the Parmesan into the cream and butter. You fold it in. You know, any of you cook out there? You know what I'm talking about? Anybody? Let's see. National Cheese Day. I don't know why that fits. There we go. I want to see some pictures of cheese. Hey, the 9 healthiest types of cheese. Happy National Cheese Day. Cheese isn't entirely unhealthy. Here are 9 of the healthiest cheese to celebrate with. I'll put this on without their sound because I don't want to get straight. Mozzarella. This soft white... I'll play it without the sound. This soft white cheese contains bacteria that acts as probiotics. And you may have missed that. Holy shit, that was quick. Hang on. How are you supposed to read that fast? This soft white cheese contains bacteria that acts as probiotics and may improve gut health and strengthen your immune system. Okay, moving on. Next. Cottage cheese. Because it's high in protein but low in calories, cottage cheese is a good choice for those trying to follow a diet. Blue cheese, along with several other cheeses on this list, blue cheese contains calcium, which can help strengthen bone health. Doesn't all cheese contain calcium? Feta. This cheese contains a high amount of conjunctive, which has been shown to improve body composition in some animal bodies. Swiss cheese is lower in sodium than some other cheeses, making a good choice for those who suffer from high blood pressure. Ricotta is made of whey, which contains amino acids. Whey has been shown to help lower blood pressure and reduce high cholesterol. Parmesan cheese is loaded with calcium and phosphorus, nutrients that provide optimal bone health. That's why I like fettuccine Alfredo. Cheddar, extremely rich source of protein and calcium. Cheddar contains vitamin K, which is important to blood health. Goat cheese contains medium-chain fatty acids that get metabolized differently than other fats. It's also low in lactose for those with lactose intolerance. All right, so there you go. National Cheese Day. Enough of that. What do you mean, yuck, cottage cheese? I love cottage cheese. When I was a kid, one of my favorite things was you get a can of cling peaches and eat that with some cottage cheese in it. I don't know why I liked that so much. That was just one of those things that I really liked. Cottage cheese and peaches. All right, Eid Mubarak. Celebrate. Celebrities and leaders send their Eid wishes. Eid Mubarak. So it's the Festival of Eid. As the holy month of fasting concludes, Muslims around the world are getting into the festive Eid spirit. Okay, so there you go. People are celebrating the end of the fasting period of Ramadan. So, of course, and then we have... Of course, Justin Trudeau has a message. I'm sure. Well, let's see. I think, Trump had message at the beginning of Ramadan. All world leaders do it. I mean, it is a very large religion around the world. But here's my curiosity. Now that I realize that it is Eid Mubarak, meaning the end of Ramadan, I don't use Google anymore. I use DuckDuckGo. But I want to look on the Google homepage, just out of curiosity. Let's go, google.com. What is their Google Doodle today? Oh, nope. Google is Google celebrating Pride. So there you go, celebrating 50 years of the Pride festivals. I can't, I used to enjoy I live in the Twin Cities, and Minneapolis usually has a huge Pride festival down near the Basilica of St. Mary's in downtown near downtown Minneapolis. And it used to be a really, really fun festival, but just because, lots of people go to it of all persuasions, and they usually have great food and, pretty good entertainment. But it got, for there were a few years there, it got so just out of hand weird. And I've never gone to the Pride parades. I hear that, for me, it's just not my thing. But, where the hell I do this? Okay, there we go. But man, there was a thing on here. I missed it. Now that you're getting the young drag kids, marching in the parades, I just don't know that. It's great to be proud of who you are, but the Pride Parade is primarily about sexuality. And young kids don't understand sexuality. They don't have those things yet. Now, I'm not saying that I don't care what people do. They are free to. What am I trying to say here? They're, I don't have a problem with gay people adopting. I don't care, about any of that. The Pride Festival, however, tends to be geared to adults and adult sexuality. And so I sometimes have big issues when there are children in certain aspects of that atmosphere. I hope I made sense here. Oh, hello, Tuxic Hamster and Della Hayes. Good morning. Didn't see you guys. Good morning, Maddie. So anyway, hello everybody. All right. So anyway, I don't know why I went from Eid Mubarak to Pride, because in most parts of the world, those two things don't mix, unfortunately. So maybe I should stop combining those. All right. Moving on. Let's see what else we got here. Moving back. I got to click this back on here. Sorry. Tuesday motivation. We'll skip that one because we've already done Tuesday thoughts. Paul Gin is coming. Is this something about promise scenery and Baijin, knowing that they're the only reason SoundCloud is still thriving? Anyone know what Baijin is coming? Baijin, is that like could it be a K-pop band? Anybody know it? Okay, who knows? I don't care. Moving on. Probably a K-pop band. I don't. Now, Paul Manafort's trending because he's headed to Rikers Island. So I will read into this. Our former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort being transferred to Rikers Island. Manafort, who faces nearly 4 years in prison for financial fraud, is being transferred from a security facility in Pennsylvania to New York City's Rikers Island, Fox News reported. Apparently, judge orders Paul Manafort to be transferred to New York City's notorious Rikers Island. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a high-risk, dangerous criminal. Belongs in Rikers Island, one of the most notorious bad places for people. Paul Manafort's a dick. And he committed his crimes were from 10 years ago that he's being convicted of. he's not being convicted of anything to do with Russia or anything related to the Trump campaign. Just happened to be a part of the Trump campaign, and then they dug into his past, and they're gonna anyway. Paul Manafort, the former Trump campaign chairman who was sentenced earlier this year to nearly 7 years in prison in connection with 2 federal cases, will be transferred later this week from a minimum security facility in Pennsylvania to New York City's Rikers Island, a source close to Manafort told Fox News. Rikers Island is a famous jail in the shadow of LaGuardia Airport. It has been the temporary home of some of the most high-profile violent criminals in the city, including David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, and Mark David Chapman, the man who killed John Lennon. He's not a mob boss, a source close to Manafort said. A New York City state judge ordered the transfer at the request of New York City District Attorney Cy Vance Jr. He will be held in solitary confinement for his own protection, the source said. The move is expected to happen as early as Thursday. Vance, a Democrat, said in March that a New York grand jury charged Manafort with 16 counts, including residential mortgage fraud, falsifying business records, and other charges. He said at the time that no one is beyond the law in New York. Manafort cannot be pardoned by President Trump for state crimes. Yeah, this is one of those things, man. The state of New York, they've decided, hey, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, the reparation coffee is flowing this morning. All right. The state of New York has decided that, especially not the state of New York, the Democrats in New York who have complete power in the state of New York have decided to do everything they can do to make Trump and anyone related to Trump as miserable as possible. So these guys moving Manafort to Rikers Island, it's one of those moves, man. It's a terrible place. It's, this guy's a blue collar, whatever criminal, that he should serve out his sentence in jail. Sending him to one of the worst jails in the country is probably it's just an overkill ass move by this Democratic state judge. In fact, they're even changing laws in the state of New York just so they can be a thorn in Trump's ass. For example, they changed their state tax return laws, saying that, specifically saying that Congress, certain committees in Congress, will get access to your tax returns if they request them from the state of New York, because Trump's not turning his federal taxes to the into the Congress, which I don't even know why they want them. Obviously, the IRS has been looking at them for years, but you know what? They just want anything they can do to embarrass Trump. Just how they are. Let's see. Anything else in this article that's interesting? No, I just talk about his conviction and whatnot. So anyway, Paul Manafort is trending today. Let's see what a few people are saying about Paul Manafort. Byron York. Remember the FBI's overkill guns drawn dawn raid on Paul Manafort's home? Now he's being moved to Rikers Island, solitary confinement. He's not a mob boss. Let's see. Manafort be transferred. We already know that. Yep. A lot of people saying he's not a mob boss. Oh man, nobody here. Let's see what the latest is. Let's go back this way. Kyle Griffin, a Trump hater, knew Paul Manafort would be sent to Rikers Island Jail in New York, where he is likely to face solitary confinement. New York Times reports. Oh, the New York Times reported it too. Let's see. As news spreads that Paul Manafort will be transferred to Rikers Island and held in solitary confinement until trial, I am seeing far too many people rejoicing and issuing praise for karma. Rikers Island and solitary confinement are both tortures no one should be subjected to. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see what else he says in this thread. When we support pain, punishment, torture, harshness, pretrial detention, solitary, guilt until proven innocent for one, no matter how much we might despise them or think they deserve it, we further entrench an unjust system for all. Our system of mass punishment Incarceration and criminalization was literally built on anger and fear based on extreme outlier cases and hatred for the other. Every time someone commits a horrific crime or a particularly disdainful character gets caught, we just repeat history. If we ever want lasting transformative change, hope to abolish our criminal punishment system, work to meaningfully reduce people in jails and prison, become fairer, more lenient, we have to try to resist the instinct to want to hurt others. We must also have tolerance for tragedy. So he gives some statistics here: 2.3 million in U.S. jails, 500,000 in jails solely because they're poor. Oh, now, that sentence makes me just want to finish this thread immediately. No, there are not 500,000 people in jail solely because they're poor. That's bullshit. Okay? They likely, a vast, overwhelming majority of them committed a crime. Okay? Now, do we have to look at how we sentence people, how long they stay in prison, what kind of things they're going to jail for? Absolutely. But they're not in jail just because they're poor. There's 500,000 in jail because they're poor. Well, there's probably 30 million people who are not in jail who are poor. So, you know what? You can't make the excuse that they're poor. Okay? There are lots of poor people who don't commit crimes, who live their lives. And poor in our country, oh my gosh. Poor in our country, in some countries, you'd be the wealthiest person in the village. Okay? Anyway, 89% on Rikers are black and Latino. Okay. What percentage of people, the crimes are committed by black and Latino people in that area? So 740. The cost of it per night of Rikers is $742 per night. How do they come up with that? Is that their budget per what? Per night per prisoner? Okay, why? Because of the security that it requires to keep people in a jail? I don't know. $260,000 per year per person. 9 times more likely to plead to crime. Okay, now that is interesting. I don't know why. Maybe they're pleading to crimes that are more robust than other crimes, and that's why they end up at Rikers. The people at Rikers are the one who commit some of the worst crimes. So I don't know. By supporting solitary for Manafort, we support an immoral, barbaric, cruel, and unusual practice. Torture with long-lasting, debilitating mental health consequences. And solitary for one means solitary is available for all. And then he's going through some people who were in Rikers. Interesting thread. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the beginning of that thread if you want to read the rest of it. Or read the rest of it. It's an interesting thread. Father-in-law's doing okay. He's thanks, Matt, for asking. My father-in-law, I mentioned this earlier, but if you weren't here, we did take him to the hospital, to the emergency room, just for some things that they're not life-threatening, but he had to be admitted, and then we're probably going to have him move into a facility that has more on-call care, or not on-call care, but in-house care. Right now, he lives in an apartment where he has people come in, and we're probably going to move him to more of a assisted living / not necessarily nursing home, but assisted living with more high services. So hopefully that'll work out, and it's going to be close to my wife's work, not too far from where we live, so that's good too. So we'll still be able to see him every day. All right, moving on. That's why so that's enough about Paul Manafort. Let's see what else, because I got to finish it up here. Tiananmen Square is trending. Let's see, thousands are expected to attend the candlelight vigil in Hong Kong on the 30th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square protests in Beijing. If you're too young to remember that, they were protesting in China, and an unidentified democracy activist known as Tank Man is remembered for staring down at Chinese military tanks in protest the day after the Tiananmen Square massacre. Yeah, there was a protest in China, and I can't remember how many people were killed. Let's see. This spectacular night scene of the mass hunger strike at Tiananmen Square in 1989 was taken by a friend of mine. He wants it to be shared, but is too afraid to reveal his name. Yeah, you still got to be careful in China talking about this time. Let's see. 30 years ago, the brutal massacre of hundreds, if not thousands, of protesting citizens, workers, and students in Beijing shocked the world. For China, it marked a turning point away from the prospect of greater freedom and towards authoritarian oppression. Yeah, they were trying to become more open at the time. Let's see. When the students poured into Tiananmen Square, the Chinese government almost blew it. They were vicious. They were horrible. But they put it down with strength. That shows you the power of strength. Our country right now is perceived as weak. He's trying to make a case that our trade wars with China aren't going to go well. I guess we'll find out, But yeah, the Tiananmen Square massacre. Yeah, this was iconic though. This dude staring down the tanks, and it was pretty amazing. Here, let's just watch this for a second. I did the CNN feed here. There's one brave man. I wonder. I would love to see where is he now clip of that gentleman. So that was 30 years ago, man. 30 years ago. So I would guess a lot of people around here weren't even born yet. I was a year and a half out of college when that happened. But yeah, so that's a long time ago. All right, moving on. Jovic, it's got to be something soccer. I'm gonna skip Jovic. Genesis Mini. Oh yeah, gaming system. Let's see. I am looking for a Sega Genesis Mini PlayStation Classic. Why is Genesis Mini? Every comment on the Genesis Mini, final 12 games is the same. We're getting Tetris, Darius, and Willy Wars. Yet people still complain about it not having a game available on dozens of platforms. Okay, so I don't know anything about. My gaming is pretty much Xbox One and my phone. So I don't know any other systems and then what's the PlayStation, but we don't have that. We have an Xbox One, so that's okay. That's the system I know. Moving on. All right. Okay, Jin. Oh, Jin. Jin is one of the guys in BTS, which is it's a K-pop band, so that's what it is. All right, Alex G. Oh, who's Alex G? Okay, some guy doing a new album. Kanta. French. Oh, someone advances. Johanna Kanta advances the French Open. Jason, PMA, Tony Page, Tom Terrific, Byford. Okay, none of the rest I even want to check out. So that's it for Twitter trends for today. Hey, so a couple reminders for you guys, because tomorrow, as you know, I do my Jussie Smollett updates on Wednesday, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about when it comes to Jussie Smollett tomorrow. Oh man, they released all of those files from his non-trial. The whole show might be Jussie Smollett tomorrow. Well, maybe not the whole show, but we have a lot to go over because they released the police files, and there's a lot of stuff in there, and there's so many articles about just different aspects of that case, about Jussie Smollett, about Kim Fox, about the Osundairo brothers, and their update is not even about the case, but just some fascinating stuff going on about that. So yeah, oh, you watched it live too, Necro? Yeah, it was crazy because CNN was. It was somewhat early stages for CNN, but that's what's. Back when CNN was actually a news organization, that's the kind of stuff you get. You notice, okay, here's a little aside too. Have you kind of noticed that CNN used to be, at least in the last 10 years per se. Used to say, okay, if I want to go to a conservative network where I hear conservative commentary, I'm going to go to Fox News. And if you wanted to see some liberal commentary and nothing but liberal commentators, you'd go to MSNBC. And in theory, and I say in theory only because I know that is not true, CNN was supposed to be the actual news network. Not a lot of twisting, although they always had their Democrat leanings, not democratic like system, but Democrat meaning the party and left politics leaning, but they were fairly reliable when it just came to news and when it came to goodbye Brian Mullins, hope you have a good day. And good morning. I don't think I said hi to you this morning, but good morning and have a good day. But it used to be, it's like everyone thought of CNN as the neutral network. They're strictly news, and you'd see stuff like, breaking reports of actual news, and it wasn't, now CNN, I swear, it's 24-hour Donald Trump. They added the commentary shows in the evening versus, it used to be like you go to CNN and it'd be Larry King just interviewing somebody, or I'm trying to think who used to be on later at night, or even Wolf Blitzer. Even his show was a news show. It was talking about news. Everything on CNN now is about Donald Trump. They literally talk about Donald Trump 24 hours a day. And it's just weird. I mean, it's unfortunate because there's, I want a news channel. And fortunately, Twitter kind of turned into my news channel. Things that breaking. And the bad thing about Twitter, again, though, is Twitter breaks a lot of bullshit too. A lot of stories that turn out to be false. But it's a very democratic in how how you're going to find out about things. For example, when I first heard about Jussie Smollett, who we're going to talk about tomorrow, the cool thing about Twitter is I could go look up reporters and blogs and things in Chicago that were talking about it. I didn't rely on national news networks. And that's how I started, almost immediately figured out that the story didn't make any sense because the local reporters were reporting very different things than a lot of the national reporters. And that was really beneficial to me as far as learning about my opinion on that case. I couldn't form an opinion from the national people because they were all just talking about the racist, homophobic attack on the gay black man actor from Empire. So the one thing about Twitter is, you can, and you're going to get every opinion in the planet on Twitter, but usually you can piece together what is real and sometimes what is not real, but anyway. So, hey, everybody, I appreciate you all. Thanks for stopping by today. That is going to be the show for today. Tomorrow, we're going to get our Jussie update. And we'll do the Twitter trends like we do every day. Also, just a reminder, every Thursday is FTG Thursday. If you have nominations for the FTGs of the past week, you can send them to me right down here, right there. My DMs are open on Twitter at Dawg Knight, or you can send them to my email, which you take that put on the other end of Dawg Knight. pdogknight@gmail.com. You can send me things there. If you have stories or other things you want me to talk about. Just a reminder too that if you haven't done so already, the like button's down here, the shares button's down here. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications when we come on. Again, the Morning Night Live is on Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT for those people in other parts of the world, like my friend here, one of my people here is from Denmark. Who was that? Was that Tuxic Hamster? Are you the one? Are you from, or did you say Netherlands maybe? Is that, there's I can't remember which one you said you were from. I thought you did. Tuxic, where are you from? And Oh, well, I'll see you around, April. Good. I keep saying April because I know it's April Rain Nation. Also, you changed your handle though. What's to Liberty something? And I just subscribed to your channel because you used to have April Rain, and then you changed that channel to Rain Nation. But now you have a new channel called Liberty something. Could you just, if you haven't already left, can you let me know what that is in the chat? Anyway, I gotta go because it's that time. I'm past my time. So, again, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and also, by the way, we also do, for the feature notice, we do super chats and donations. I only do them through Streamlabs right now. Eventually, I'll put a PayPal link and a Venmo link and all that kind of stuff in my description. But right now, you can do all donations and super chats through Streamlabs. Yeah, that's it. Miss Liberty. That's your boat channel. Is that the name of your boat? Oh, okay, cool. I subscribed to your boat channel because I saw it out there and I'm like, link is in the Twitter description. Yeah, I know. That's the one I just subscribed to. I'm like, because I hadn't seen that one. All right, cool. Because April bought a new boat. You live on your boat. It's a boat. It's a houseboat, right? Or just a big ass boat that big enough to live on. Anyway. All right, so that's it for today, people. Thanks for being here. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.